Right then, this is a walk-around video for a Honda CR-V, and it's a 2-litre EX automatic. This particular car has covered 69,000 miles, finished in passion red, which looks absolutely stunning on the car. I've put it in the shade because it's less glary this way, but the colour looks fantastic in and out of the sun. This is a new style car, or facelift version on 2015, so you get this wonderful new front end treatment, and it's currently priced incredibly well. Absolutely stunning condition throughout. Lights and lenses completely clear and intact. Bumper really clean. Bonnet likewise. There will be the odd very light stone chip, but I'm talking incredibly light. There's nothing that merits a mention. Near side, passenger side, wonderfully clean in the panels, no indentations at all. Near side front alloy, the one takes all the bashing and not a mark on it. Turn the camera that way, sorry, the sun's coming through the trees. But the panel work is all but blemish free, it's amazing. Near side rear alloy, again, completely unmarked. And come around the back of the car, again, really clean and tidy. Off side of the vehicle, driver's side, again, absolutely incredibly clean in the panels. Side rear alloy, completely unmarked there, and the remaining panel work is absolutely beautiful. And final alloy, again, completely unmarked. So externally, I mean, there will be the odd minor mark which I haven't seen or picked up on, but it'd be hard to imagine a better car than that. So coming into the back of the car now, obviously power tailgate, as you can see. Apologise, the sun directly in line doesn't help. I'm not going to complain because it's lovely to see it this time of year. The back of the car is absolutely incredibly clean, including all the fabrics. Really rare to see because the CR-Vs are family cars and can be very heavily used indeed. So coming to the back now, big wide opening rear doors and an incredible amount of leg room. And bear in mind, those seats are set for me and I'm over 6 foot tall. Leatherwork looks absolutely stunning in the car. It really is in beautiful condition. Passenger door card, again, incredibly clean. So my battery's getting low, so I'm going to have to whiz through this last bit. But again, front passenger seat, beautiful condition again. So going to the front, driver's seat, the one takes all the wear and exhibits virtually none at all. So inside the car now, engine's running through this section so the dash can be seen illuminated. Dashboard looks factory fresh, looks absolutely immaculate. Sat nav, as you can see there, working perfectly. If I pop the car into reverse, get that lovely clear gridded parking camera, all working exactly as it should. But it has been kept simply beautifully. And then you come to the main dashboard binnacle. You see there, 69,050 miles, and there are no warning lights on the dashboard at all whilst the engine's running. Very often a video won't do justice, and this is certainly one of those cases. Finally, just to show you, owner's manual pack and lock and wheel nut key are both here and present with the car. Right then, this is a quick road test video, and this is for a Honda CR-V, and it's a 2-litre EX automatic. This particular car is registered LF15PZM, and mileage at the start of the road test is 69,044 miles. The reason we do these videos, as I say in all of them, is very simple. It's basically that we want anyone that's looking at our cars which are advertised to actually see those cars in operation. The reason for that is really simple. We know to our cost, unfortunately, just how frustrating it can be to go and see a car which can look perfectly good in the photographs and the description provided, but only to get there and find out when you drive it, it's got a fundamental issue which shows up whilst test driving the car. So that's why we do it. The road test is also done on the same route or same roads as any prospective buyer would go on. And the reason for that is that we'd hope it would then be representative of what you'd feel yourself should you be offered a test drive on the car. So I'm just going to move my mic a bit so it doesn't snag. better. There we are. So coming to the car in question, it was supplied to us direct from it was actually a Toyota main dealer. But the car's absolutely fantastic. It's the facelift version, 2015 model car, where they revised a whole host of things. You spot straight away with the new style sat navs inside. But mechanically, as I said, I am being critical on the car. I hate saying it because it is literally the most corny thing you can say on any used car, but it does drive absolutely as new. It's incredibly tight in every single way. The engine starts, you obviously push button start instantly and settles to completely smooth, even idle. There are no warning lights on the dashboard at all relating to the engine or any other part of the car. And temperature gauge is running at a third, which is exactly where it's meant to be on a Honda vehicle. The engines are, Honda build the best engines in the world, and their four-cylinder engines are light years ahead of anyone else's. Not only in terms of the things you expect of a Honda, reliability and longevity. They're in the Hall of Fame for that one. They're incredibly tough engines. Just regular maintenance keeps them that way for hundreds of thousands of miles. But it's also the way they operate, because it is kind of like a Swiss watch. It's so mechanically refined and smooth in the way it goes about its business. Virtually no vibration coming back through into the cabin when you're building up the revs, so it is so sweet in the way it revs through, and it can be from sort of low revs all the way through, and it's got a lovely soundtrack, by the way. Not that you could drive it in a sporty way, I'd expect, but it doesn't sound strained at the higher revs, whereas some cars obviously do. But a brilliant engine, absolutely brilliant. They are cam chain driven, by the way. No cam belts to worry about ever changing on these cars. Engine obviously then goes into the automatic gearbox, which, like the engine, is just another beautifully engineered affair. What they've done with the ratios is obviously try and extract the best from the engine in terms of performance and economy, and it's really well judged, because it's sprightly, but it is economical as well in its own right. The gear changes are wonderfully smooth. Notwithstanding that, no matter what the reputation is of a manufacturer, should still look for the obvious things on any used automatic, and that's just make sure that the gear changes are indeed smooth, but also when you're selecting drive from stationary or reverse, there's no great delays or sudden thunks as they engage, and there's nothing. It's absolutely perfect. Steering of the vehicle, really nicely weighted on the car. Makes the car feel lovely and settled, almost heavy on the road, which is, it's obviously light, don't get me wrong, because it's power steering, so it's ever so easy to, but it gives you a lovely weighting to the car. It also, by the way, it tracks absolutely dead straight. There's no vibrations at all at this speed or any speed up to the legal limit, but it just feels so tight on the road. It's amazing. To obviously consider it's done the mileage it's done. Likewise, suspension of the vehicle, Honda, the CR-V is the best selling SUV in the world, so Honda know this market very, very well indeed. And what they give you is borderline perfection, really, for an SUV, because ultimately it's here to sort of ferry people about, and probably 4 or 5 at a time. So it gives a really comfortable, well-damped ride. But unlike some which go for a very soft springing to give you, on this sort of surface, very comfortable ride, they can wallow about quite a lot in corners. CR-V doesn't. It's got really good body control, and doesn't sway about, and that's particularly important for rear seat passengers who may start to feel nauseous with a lot of body motion, which obviously taller vehicles tend to have. But this, when you put it through corners, really settled. What I'm looking for, on the road test as well, with suspension, of course, is just any kind of noises coming from underneath the vehicle that shouldn't be there. So when it hits a bump, you'll hear it, albeit it's subdued,
but there shouldn't be any chatterings, any mechanical noises, and there are none at all. It's absolutely as tight as a drum. Brakes on the car, just going to give them a bit of a thump, make sure no one's behind me. That's a really nice solid brake pedal on the car. And again, what I'm looking for with that, particularly on automatics where they're doing more work, is just make sure that there's no kind of pulsing on the brake pedal or any vibrations, and there's nothing at all. Coming to the interior, first things first, as I say in a lot of the CRV videos can't get across just how beautifully made, besides just a fuel light pinging on, by the way, these cars are. There's no squeaks, no rattles, nothing. It's absolutely silent in that respect. It is a brilliantly put together car. Also happens to be a lovely place to sit, and this is actually the perfect day for explaining why these lighter interiors are really sought after on these cars. And you know, I love them actually, because it's a dank, horrible morning where the black interior on my wife's car, which, you know, I still love, by the way, so don't get me wrong, I still like black interiors, it does feel quite gloomy inside. This just adds so much more natural light inside the vehicle, especially when you've got the panoramic roof allowing all the light in. So that's parking sensor as well, just beeping. It really does add, say, that sort of a freshness, a brightness to the interior, which is nicely done. It's tastefully done. It's not garish in the slightest, and eminently practical, by the way. So if you spill anything, I always keep, when we have the lighter ones, I keep 2 cloths inside the car, some wet wipes and a dry wipe. So if someone spills something, wet wipe it and then dry it immediately. It keeps them absolutely pristine. Let's let this chap come through. Dashboard itself is so simple and easy to use. I mean, it's a very well equipped car, the EX, so it's got a lot of kit on it, but it doesn't phase, it doesn't sort of intimidate in any way. Sat nav, you can see they're working perfectly. Big screen on there, again, really simple to operate. Then you've got a dual zone climate control system, so different temperatures side to side, all working exactly as it should, pumping out absolutely ice cold air. Switch gear quality is absolutely superb with them. You press them, they've got a really lovely, satisfying feel to them. And that's really important to Honda, to give you that. They work very hard at that, but also to make sure that they feel like that through the life of the car. And they do. They don't seem to have issues with the switches, Honda. Incredibly tough. Heated seats, of course. Dashboard in front, say it's all the information you need and no more, which I really like. But very neatly and nicely presented is always the way with Honda. Steering wheel, daft as it sounds, just feels really nice in hand because it's actually quite a small diameter. Again, SUVs, for some reason, manufacturers seem to want to make you feel like you're driving a truck, so they give you quite big steering wheels, they feel quite cumbersome, sort of going from lock to lock. This feels really neat and small in hand and feels like new. The interior, I will say, as with the exterior, whoever's had the car should be applauded, because I rarely see cars come to us where it's been just so beautifully looked after. It literally feels like I've just driven one, off a Honda forecourt with 1,000 miles on the clock. It's just got that freshness to everything about the plastics, the seats, everything. So it is a wonderful example, and that's not hyperbole. It is the case. So as always, as I was saying, the point of video is to pick up on any issues, no matter how small they might be. There is nothing at all. It drives absolutely perfectly. But if you've got any questions about the car, don't hesitate, do give us a call.